Hello and welcome to GCS Today here on Channel 21, the program that brings you news and information from Gaston County Schools. I'm Todd Hagans. On today's episode, we talk with Trevor Dunlap from Pleasant Ridge Elementary about his selection as the Gaston County New Teacher of the Year. Plus, we spend time with Highland School of Technology senior Lauren Tolbert to find out what it is like to win 6 state championships. Joining me on GCS Today is Trevor Dunlap. He is a 4th grade teacher at Pleasant Ridge Elementary School and the 2020-2021 Gaston County New Teacher of the Year. Trevor, it's nice to see you. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Now, I want to let our audience know that you were our New Teacher of the Year 2 years ago. But right after you were announced as the winner, you were deployed. So we never got to have you talk with us on GCS Today. So we appreciate you taking time to be with us 2 years later on GCS Today.
Oh, yeah. Better late than never. It's all right.
So what was it like to be named the Gaston County New Teacher of the Year?
I think just like anybody who's stepping into this career, as this is a new job for anybody, they're going to really want that recognition, and that's going to fuel them and motivate them a lot. So I appreciate the recognition, and I appreciate being acknowledged for the hard work and the ambition of continuing to grow professionally. So it's very motivating, and I use that to fuel my continued learning myself. So I appreciate it very much.
So tell us about Pleasant Ridge Elementary School. You teach 4th grade at Pleasant Ridge. Why do you enjoy teaching there?
I like Pleasant Ridge a lot. It's a good school to teach at if you want to get a little bit of everything. You're going to get the most diverse student body of anywhere that I've worked at in my career so far. I've experienced a lot of different things at this school with the different types of kids and the types of people that I work with here. I think that it's good to be an environment that is as diverse as this school is. I also feel like that this school keeps me here because there's very good leadership. And I think that one of the best things in any school is having the best kind of leadership that you could possibly have. So leadership really makes a big part of it. This school community, though, is such a positive place to work and continue to learn and grow in.
Yeah, Pleasant Ridge is a great school, a new school building, diversity, great teachers, great leadership. Really is a shining star in Gaston County. So it's good to hear you say that you're enjoying your time there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So take us inside of Mr. Dunlap's class. What is it like to be in your classroom, and what do you think your students enjoy the most?
Well, if you walk into my classroom, it's a living definition of structure and organization. Although ironically, my own areas in the classroom are a bit messy, but it's my little organized mess, and I know where everything is in my mess. But my room is super structured. It's an environment where everything is very predictable. We do the same things at the same times every day. The students feel 100% safe in my room. They know what to expect every single day because my expectations are clear and concise and repeated. I know that they enjoy the safety and the security of my classroom very much, and they probably appreciate my honesty, my transparency with them. They know what I expect of them. They know why the content I teach is important, and I know that they should be using it in their lives when they leave the school as well. So I try to apply everything I teach to them to real life beyond school. So one of the examples of this is probably my classroom economy that I'm running in my class right now. A lot of the economic concepts that they desperately need to understand as early as possible. It's not necessarily structured so heavily into the curriculum, especially at elementary. So I want them to understand basic economics before they're in middle school, and the value of maybe saving $1 before spending $1. So that might be the first thing they mention is their jobs and the money they're spending and saving in our little economy system I got going on.
It's never too early to teach children about managing money, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Pleasant Ridge is home to the Gaston County Schools Gifted and Talented Academy for elementary students. So how is the academy helping students to excel in the classroom and beyond?
The Gifted and Talented Academy at Pleasant Ridge gives students the ultimate enrichment opportunity and experience. A lot of their learning is delivered via project-based learning, so they get to not only receive curriculum in a classroom environment, but they get to expand on it far beyond what the curriculum might necessarily ask of them. They have all these projects, and then they have all of these projects where there's a little bit of competition thrown there, like with the science fair and all these other opportunities to shine and show how much they've learned and how they can apply their learning. And they are constantly challenged to soar beyond expectations of maybe any old typical third, fourth, fifth grade classroom in this country. And I think that that's tremendously valuable to show students that they can do more than what is typically expected of any old student, and that any student is capable of managing beyond the normal expectations. So it is it's quite incredible to see what they're able to pull together in those classrooms with all of the different things they do with our curriculum. They're taking it to another level that I really find to be admirable. So it's a huge opportunity for everybody.
The focus on enrichment really takes learning beyond the classroom, and it engages students in more than just what happens in the classroom. I really think that that is key to the success of students, the involvement in the various clubs and activities and that you have at Pleasant Ridge. It is about the making the learning enriching and meaningful for students.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have so many things beyond just the classrooms at the school. I mean, under normal circumstances, we would be running the student enrichment model where we have enrichment clusters, and they would be able to learn all kinds of things under the sun, like computer programming or martial arts and all sorts of arts related fields. So this is a building of nothing but opportunities for kids.
You're exactly right. A lot of opportunities for students at Pleasant Ridge Elementary School with the Gifted and Talented Academy. I want to shift to your military background and your military career. Tell us about your involvement in the military, and what lessons have you learned that you have been able to bring into the classroom and share with your students?
My job is, I like to call myself a nerd soldier. I work in information technology, networking, and communications because I had a really good score on the tests and assessments, and I was qualified. So I was able to choose almost any sort of military occupation specialty. So I chose communications and IT because I thought, well, I could probably bring a lot of this back into my own life and to my professional life in education as well. And so I've learned a lot of things about computer science, computer programming, networking concepts. And I mean, I could take a computer apart and rebuild it. I could customize and build a computer if I wanted to. And I feel like those are a lot of things that kids want to know. And if you walked into my classroom, the kids in my room would tell you, oh, those are $1 million skills right there, because those people that work in IT, they make all the money in the world. So I feel like I chose that job because it had a lot of applicability across my life. The lessons I try to extend to my students in every single day probably would just be as simple as doing the right thing when nobody's watching. There's a huge culture in the Army about integrity and leading by example. And so, you know, you can be told all day long to do something right and follow directions, but I'm not really concerned with what you do when I'm watching you and staring at you. What I'm concerned with is what you're doing when I'm not watching, when I'm not listening, and when I'm not staring at you. And so they know that my expectations are not just when I'm in the room and when I'm looking at them. It should be, and what I tell them is, you should be able to operate a normal school day as though I was across the hall in another room doing my job away from you guys all day long, and you should be able to function normally. Now, that's not necessarily what's happening, but that is the expectation that I've set. And so they know that I have a very high standard for it, and I want them to do the right thing when nobody is watching and paying attention. So that's probably the easiest one that I teach them, and I say every single day to them.
Okay, so if I interviewed some of your students, what do you think they would say about Mr. Dunlap?
They might say he's strict, But then they would probably say he's funny because I throw a lot of humor in there to make my own day interesting. But they might start with he's strict, he's funny, he really likes math, which is ironic because I didn't like it when I was a kid, and now here I am teaching it all the time here. So that might be some of the things you hear first.
So let's talk about you becoming a teacher. Who or what inspired you to become a teacher?
I find that my inspiration wasn't really drawn from a particular person as much as I drew from several influences of people who were strong leaders. And that's somewhat how I've operated my entire life, is I've always seen somebody who was very influential, and I would see somebody who's influential and I would notice that people really are listening. They're really, really listening to them. And that was a big part of what I chose to do when I was in college, which in my undergraduate, I didn't study education. I went back to school after my bachelor's degree and got a master's in education. And that's where I did learning how to be a teacher. So I think I drew on people that I found to be strong leaders who were supporting and helping people out and conveying an important message that everybody in the room was listening closely to. And I like the idea of a career of great meaning, not necessarily a career of great wealth. I don't feel like retiring after making a lot of money is going to sit right with me for however long I'm, in retirement, just making money. I'd rather look back at the career and know that I did something of value, of meaning. And so what I did really mattered. And I feel like at the elementary level, there's a real tangible meaning to what I am doing every single day in this building. So that's really where I draw the inspiration from, is continuing to pursue a meaningful career and doing everything I can to leave something behind to every student who comes in and out of my room with at least one important lesson that they never forget.
So how do you know that you are making a difference in the lives of your students?
Well, if you hear the sound of the reading in my room, it's changed so much since September. This is a year that if you ask any teacher in Gaston County schools and any teacher in North Carolina or this country for that matter, you're going to hear teachers talk to you all day long about gaps, and how much making up for lost time we're doing based on all of the difficulties of the past 2 years. And so this year, students came in and there were a lot of needs, and there was a lot of intensive instruction that needed to happen to make up for and to catch people up and try and fill in the Swiss cheese that was a lot of the learning that has taken place over the past 2 years. And so filling in gaps has been a huge part. So the first major thing you'll hear is the sound of the reading that is taking place in my room. I've heard students in September struggling with words that are one syllable long, who are now working on close to a upper fourth grade level. So they've made leaps and bounds and moved from simple one syllable words to 3 and 4 syllable words. And that is the type of growth that I would say is unprecedented. Not to toot my own horn, but the fact that I feel like the motivation is really there this year with them. They understand personally, I have to do my best this year, and I have to grow as a reader this year. And I'm seeing that. I feel like everybody is very much more in tune to the real mission this year, which is to really get the reading going. And I find that's happening a lot this year. So the maturity overall as well, I'm seeing leaps and bounds too. Children learning from home, they didn't get the same experience as being in the classroom with 24 other kids. So maturity is definitely coming a long way as well this year.
Trevor Dunlap, fourth grade teacher at Pleasant Ridge Elementary School and new teacher of the year for Gaston County Schools for 2020-2021. Trevor, we appreciate all that you're doing in the classroom and at Pleasant Ridge. We know that you are an incredible teacher, and we know that your students are benefiting every day by being in your classroom. So thank you for all that you're doing as one of the great teachers in Gaston County Schools. And we will also want to thank you for being with us here today on GCS Today.
Thank you, Todd. I appreciate it.
You're watching GCS Today here on Channel 21. Stay with us. Our interview with state champion Lauren Tolbert is next.
Even if I wanted to be adopted, who would adopt a 17-year-old?
By the time I found out that she was up for adoption, she was dead set on, no, I don't want to be adopted. I need to just be realistic about my life and what my future holds.
That's when she came to me and she said, would you be interested in us adopting you? Once I got into the family, my world started to change, my mindset started to change, and my future started to change.
She doesn't have to worry about, I'm alone, no one loves me, what is my life gonna be like 10 years from now? She's just got normal worries that anyone her age should be having.
I didn't think that I would have a family again. I didn't think that I would go to college. I didn't think that I would have love. And with that, I just feel like my world is just so much brighter.
Joining me on GCS Today is Lauren Tolbert. She is a student at the Highland School of Technology and a 6-time state champion in track and field and cross country. Lauren, it is good to see you and congratulations.
Thank you, and thank you for having me today.
Your most recent state championship came at the indoor track and field competition where you won the 1,000-meter run and set a new state record. So tell us about that experience.
So this year's indoor state meet was very memorable for me because coming into this meet, I wanted to be special since it was my last time competing indoors as a senior. And this kind of mindset is what I look towards for my outdoor season as well. And I want to leave a good legacy as I finish up my senior year, and this is important to me. So going out on top after this race with a new state record, it felt really good. And coming into this meet, I had my eye on setting the state record and winning the 1,000 meters too.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. Did you go into that state meet determined to win another state championship?
Yes, I was very determined because my sophomore year, I didn't get the chance to my junior year, I didn't have a chance either because of COVID. So I really wanted to win and set a new state record.
And so you did it. So again, congratulations. And during your high school career, you've won 6 state championships. So what an impressive achievement. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
So what do you enjoy most about running? And is it a difficult sport or is it an easy sport?
I love competing, especially while traveling to different places and meeting other athletes. For example, last year, I got to compete at the Nike Outdoor Championships at the University of Oregon, and that was a week after the Olympic trials were held there. And I want to say it's an easy sport because I train really hard every day at an elite level. And I run about 20 miles a week, consisting of endurance and high intensity runs. And over the last year, I started lifting weights a couple of times a week. And sometimes I have to get up at 5 a.m. to go train. And it can also be very hard on your body and mind to just keep continuing to practice at high intensity every single day.
And so I think it's important for people to understand that the practice, the training, it takes a lot and it takes a focus every day if you want to perform at a championship level.
Yes, because sometimes I don't feel like going out to practice because I was sore the day before, or it might be a hard practice, and sometimes I don't want to do those, but I know all my aspirations and goals in the future, I have to do it if I want to achieve those.
So you've got Duke there on your shirt. So you were going to Duke University to run, and you plan to major in biology or a related field. So how excited are you about going to Duke and your future in general?
I'm very excited about going to Duke because after a long recruiting process last year, I felt Duke was a perfect place for me academically and athletically, and I get to experience the best of both worlds. And from an academic side, Duke will help me complete my requirements for dental school while getting a world-class education. And from the athletic side, the Duke's women's team won the ACCs last year, so they're building a strong program, and I would love to experience and bring my talents to a team like that. And also, they have Olympic coaching experience, and I have aspirations of running and compete at the Olympics someday.
Well, when you join the team, they will be stronger. There's no doubt about that. So you have, career-wise, you have the ambition of becoming an oral surgeon.
Yes.
But as you just mentioned, you also have aspirations of becoming a member of Team USA and competing in the Olympics. So what do you think it will take to make that happen?
I started running in elementary school on a Girls on the Run program when I was 7. And I competed more competitively through club and school since then. It took a great deal of dedication and commitment throughout the years to get to an elite level. But to make Team USA, I will need to put everything I have for the next 2 to 6 years into practice and conditioning my body at a much higher level. And to become an oral surgeon and dentist, I will need to have the same level of determination and commitment. I need to study hard to first get my degree and to meet the prerequisites for dental school. And the dental classes I've taken here at Highlands gave me more insight into the field of dentistry and what they do on a day-to-day basis. And it allowed me to love dentistry even more.
So Lauren, let's do some rankings. So on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, how would you rank your determination on becoming an oral surgeon and working in the dentistry field?
If it was like more than 10, it would be 20 because I've always wanted to go into the dental field since I was 7 years old. Because when I was 7, I always got cavities, so I always had to go to the dentist, and like what I saw, what they did on the day-to-day basics from going there, I just fell in love with what they did, and I was like more interested too.
Okay, so the same question, do a ranking, a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, on how determined you are to make it to Team USA in the Olympics.
It would be a 22, like go beyond 10, because I saw in 2008, the Olympics there, I was like, I want to do that someday once I started running.
And we certainly believe that you will rank a 20 with your career and with your ambition to be a part of Team USA.
Thank you.
So your track coach, Marcella Robbins, said you have unbelievable God-given talent. What do you think about her saying that?
I feel very honored that my coach spoke that way about me because she's been with me since freshman year, helping, coaching me, and she's always been there for me if I needed help too.
So you're a student at Highland. It is your senior year. And looking back on everything that you've accomplished, not just in running, but academically and in other areas, how would you say that Highland has prepared you for success beyond graduation?
Highland has helped deepen my love for dentistry and taught me different skills I will need in the future, like presenting and better communication skills. And I have built everlasting bonds with the teachers here, and I know I will have their support in the future when I'm on Team USA and when I become an oral surgeon. And Highland helped prepare me for the rigorous courses I'll be taking at Duke University.
We just watched the Winter Olympics on television, And so we want everybody in Gaston County to remember the name Lauren Tolbert, because we are very confident that you will hear that name one day in the Olympics in the future on Team USA. Lauren Tolbert, a senior at the Highland School of Technology. Lauren, it is good to see you. We appreciate you taking time to join us. And once again, congratulations on being a 6-time state champion in track and field and cross country. That is a significant honor.
Thank you. It was an honor being on here too.
And thank you very much for joining us today here on GCS Today.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching GCS Today here on Channel 21. Before we go, we would like to say happy birthday to Tryon Elementary School. The Tryon community gathered recently for a special celebration to commemorate the school's 100th anniversary. We also would like to recognize John Chavis Middle School student Mason Powers, who was a winner in the poetry contest that was held to celebrate the 175th anniversary of Gaston County. And we want to thank Dr. Sarvan Panuganti with Carolina Urology Partners in Gastonia for his generous contribution to support the Gaston Early College of Medical Sciences. Stay tuned to Channel 21 for the latest news and information from Gaston County Schools. For GCS Today, I'm Todd Higgins. We look forward to seeing you next time.